Hey, what's good with you? Thanks for hopping in the car with Christian Addiction Recovery, the channel where like-minded individuals that face similar struggles can come so that we can learn and discuss new ways to live our best life possible and overall become the best versions of ourselves. All right, so here's the thing. God wants to bless you like so much more than you could imagine. I mean, as much as you can imagine, and then infinite more than that because He's God. All right. Now, if you were the most powerful, the most loving, the most, if you were the most incredible being that ever was, and you had all the wisdom in the world, but you wanted to bestow this wisdom and this power and this love to your children so they could carry on and do the same thing that you did. If you were that person and you wanted to give your children all that, would you train them up and get them ready, or would you just give it to them? Right? You wouldn't just give it to them. You would want to prepare your child. You would want to raise them up so that they would be wise and not foolish with that power. Now, our inheritance is the kingdom of heaven. Okay? We are co-laborers with our Father and Christ on creating this kingdom on earth. It's not in buildings. Well, I mean, it's in buildings also, maybe. God, I mean, He created us to create this world, to help Him create this world. I'm not going to say that the kingdom of heaven isn't buildings, okay? But I do know for sure that the kingdom of heaven is in our hearts and established amongst His people. He's created us for a relationship with Him, so we need to cultivate that relationship with God in other people. We need to help them find their relationship with God. That establishes the kingdom of heaven on earth, because then God is in our hearts, living amongst us. That's His plan. So our inheritance is the kingdom of heaven. Now, how can we expect God to trust us with so much when we can't even be responsible with what we've been given? Okay, and that's why I think it's very important to look at life's struggles and the challenges that we face as training, as lessons. We need to stop personalizing everything that it's negative towards us, that most of the time it's pushing us in the direction that we need to go. Shoot, I'd venture to say all of the time it's pushing us in the way we need to go. But that's hard to see for some people. I mean, when you are going through hell on earth, it's really hard to see like that is steering you towards a blessing. I know. When I went to the clinic that I went to that absolutely changed my life, I had no hope. I was crushed. I was a shell of a man. I had burned every bridge that I had ever had, so all the people in my life didn't really want to have much to do with me. And I hadn't seen my kids and overdosed on drugs, and I just had no hope. And I had no hope for a really long time. But once I went through the clinic and went through the program, I realized that through all of that persecution, it was creating in me perseverance. And that perseverance did create this character that could now see hope. I mean, I had to hit rock bottom and go to rehab to start seeing that hope, which is why I have this channel. Hopefully you will see the hope before you hit rock bottom. But I was able to look back and see all of those things steering me to Honey Lake to be able to make that change. I had to learn how to make that change. So I had to get to a place where I was ready to learn and ready to accept that I could not do it on my own. I mean, I fought so hard to not go to rehab. Like, I thought I was handling my addiction. Just because I was sober at times didn't mean I was handling my addiction at all. I found out that later. Anyway, side tangent, my bad. Here's the thing. though, when I found hope after not having hope my whole life, I can't even explain to you how amazing that feels. And probably that is why I enjoy my life so much and feel contentment and joy like I never thought a person could experience. And I experience it on the daily basis. But that's coming from someone that had no hope at all. It had all been crushed, taken from me. But now I'm working at that very same clinic and being the hands and feet of Jesus to help heal these other individuals that most all came in there with no hope at all. And now I'm actually getting to be. It's an honor. It's an absolute honor. I can't even describe it. I love my life. But I couldn't have got to this level of contentment, peace, and joy if I had not gone through everything that I went through. I could have maybe had some level of peace and contentment and joy, but this level of peace and contentment and joy is a product of persevering through all of that persecution. And hey, much of that persecution was self-inflicted. Okay, so I'm not trying to play a blame game, but it doesn't really matter when you're going through it if it's self-inflicted or not. So I had to have those struggles. I had to have all of that. Here's a couple of universal laws. What you reap, you will sow, and growth usually requires suffering of some sort. And when I say suffering, I don't mean, oh, quit torturing me. I mean like suffering, like suffer the little children to come unto me, like tolerate it. Deal with your uncomfortableness. Be comfortable with getting uncomfortable. I heard that in church today. That's how you grow. And when you are uncomfortable, say learning new things or putting effort in at the gym, and you're pushing yourself past that comfort limit. And when you go past that limit, that's where plasticity starts to take place. And that's where you can actually change your brain. So you can't change your brain doing the same thing every day, stuck in the same. You can't. So quit trying. Do something different. Watch my channel for one. Hit that subscribe button real quick. Also, see that? Just hit that. Give me a like too. But watch these videos because they're going to help you start making change in your life. And when you start making that change, you're going to get a hope. So if we want to walk in all the favor and all the blessings and all that God really has for us, then we should rejoice in our tribulations. And I understand what Paul was talking about. For so long, I was like, what is this guy talking about? Praising God for all of the pain. But now I understand. I really invite you to stick around and change your life with me. Make the change to have a God-like character. When you seek out this God-like character and you go through the work and you examine yourself and you realize the change that you need to make and you surrender it to God, you will start to develop a God-like character. And when you develop a God-like character, people will gravitate towards you. You don't even have to go out and try to change the world. That world around you will start coming and asking you, hey, what's going on with you? Because everybody else is stressed out and you seem all chill. I mean, it's happening. It happened last night. Someone that I just never thought I would have an opportunity to witness to and to encourage. And it happened last night. Did not try. God will give you the opportunities. All you should do is work on yourself and seek a relationship with God. You do those two things and everything else in your life will line up. And there'll be tweaks and things that you need to change, but that should be at the core, like a mission statement. Work on self, meet with God. And we're still human, so no matter what kind of godlike character we have, we're still going to have days where we get frustrated and have fear and let those two things control our life instead of just trusting God. But every time it happens, and then I come back to God and I should have trusted you, it gets a little bit easier that next time to trust God. And so He allows these things to challenge us. He allows things to test our patience because it grows us. He wants to give you the kingdom of heaven. Okay, that's going to require some training. Now, if you pick up the manual, the Bible, and you start training yourself, then guess what? You don't have to go through as many training sessions. But if you're not doing that, then guess what? You've got some training sessions, probably daily. That's a good way of looking at it. I never looked at it like that. I like that. Good job, Matt. All right. I appreciate y'all sticking around, and I hope I helped you just understand even this much more how incredibly important and valuable you are specifically to God, and how, like, you can't even imagine how amazing He looks at you even in your filth. And it's because He looks at us so amazingly in our filth that makes me want to stand up and serve Him. I don't feel like I have to do. And that's kind of one of the reasons why going through church, growing up, I didn't really get on board, because I was doing it because I felt like I had to. I was doing it out of a religious spirit. But now I do it freely. And when you seek a relationship with God freely, and you make the changes freely, and you do the work freely, there is so much freedom and understanding. You come to an understanding that you don't have to do it all. You have to do very little, actually. His yoke is easy and His burden is light. So if we share with the Lord in His burden towards this world of helping others, it's going to be light on us, because we're sharing that burden with God. Ooh, this is good stuff. Now, if we're sharing that burden with God, now if we go off of track, we start carrying other burdens. Right? That's not what He's asked us to do. He said, His yoke is easy and His burden is light. So what is His yoke? What is His burden? To give. What did He do His entire ministry? He gave. He gave Himself. So if we can share with Him in His burden. This is really good. I'm just understanding this for the first time, so I apologize for repeating it so many times, but that's really good. So that's the burden that we need to pick up, the one that the Lord carries for you and me and for each other. He's created us to come together and be unified in our worshiping of Him. That's His plan, and it's gonna happen. So might as well get on board. All right, for real this time. Smash the like. I'm out. Peace. Holla.